Hey, I'm Alex Radical from Board Game Co. and today I'm reviewing Night of the Ninja, a fast-paced game of deadly secrets, midnight assassinations, and deadly thin alliances. I'm just reading that from the side of the box. Night of the Ninja from Brotherwise Games. This is, like I said already, well, I mean, honestly, let's just focus on what it is. This is a hidden role social deduction game. A game which plays 4 to 11 players as you go through teams of, well, figuring out who and what side you're on. Whether you're on the Lotus House over here, whether you're on the Crane House, or whether you're all on your own, a little Ronin over there. The basic idea of the game is you're going to start by divvying up the, well, you're going to divide the roles. So let's say we're playing a 3-player game right now, which means we'll have 3 of each house, specifically the 1, 2, and 3, and the 1, 2, and 3 of those colors. We're going to shuffle these up, and we're going to deal the role cards to the various players. We're going to take these cards, we're going to deal them out to the players, giving the players their cards. So over here we have a card, a card, a card, a card, a card, and I will be this player over here. We'll go ahead and gather the cards. So that's basically it. We got all this set up over here. I'm going to pretend I'm this player over here, and I'm going to go ahead and look, and I am the number 2 Crane. Now the goal of the game is across the rounds of play, you're going to go through a specific sequence. You're going to be dealing this deck of cards to the players, giving them a variety of cards with a variety of abilities, and the goal of the game is whichever team has the highest player count left standing, they'll win. So for example, if you have a 2 and 3 of blue, but you have a 1 of red, the red team wins. But if you have a 1 of red and a 1 of blue, but you have a 2 of red but not a 2 of blue, then red team will win. And generally you're going to say who has the level 1. If both players have level 1, you go to who has level 2, who has level 3. There are some small things that can adjust who actually wins based on the cards themselves, but that's the general idea. And so you're going to go through these rounds of play of trying to take out other players, specifically figuring out who's on what team, because the only thing I know is that I'm a level 2 red. That's the only thing I know. I don't know who the level 1 blue is. I don't know who the level 1 red is. I don't know who's on my team. I don't know who the Ronin is. And so now we have to start figuring out how we figure that out. To that end, you're going to go through a drafting phase at the beginning of the game. After your role is assigned, you're going to be given 3 cards. You're going to take a look at those 3 cards. You're going to look at those cards and decide which one you want to pick. And I'll go ahead and grab the Mystic over here. The Mystic, let's go ahead and grab the Mystic. We'll grab the Mystic. I'll take it. We'll pass this play on the left. Meanwhile, I'm going to pass 2 cards from the player on my right, and I'll go ahead and grab the Blind Assassin. That could be interesting. Could be a little chaos. We'll see what happens there. I'm going to take those cards, and the last card will go into the middle, or face down pile or whatnot. It'll be discarded. You'll get rid of it. But now all players at the end of this little tiny miniature draft, all players will have 2 cards that they have selected from their cards with abilities, and that's where you start going through the phases of this card over here. Every player will have this in front of them. It lists the phases. It gives you exactly what's happening. And let's go ahead and play it out. You're going to start with the draft phase, which we already did. From there, you're going to play any spies. So all players who have spies are going to be compelled to use a spy. To that end, I'm just going to go through this all, giving one of these cards each for each one. So we have a player, let's say this player over here plays their spy card, look at another player's house card. So they're going to go ahead and look at this card. They're going to take it. They're going to look at it. I have no clue what's happening. They'll put it back, at which point they'll say whatever they want to say. Hey, he's not on my team. She is on my team. What's going on here? Who is what? What's happening here? You're going to say what you want to say, and now the lies start to begin. Because I might sit there and say, well, that player's not on my team, but then the next spy can go ahead and look at the card and tell me if I'm right or wrong. Does it mean anything? Does it not? Who knows? Or I can keep that information to myself. You start with the spy, information starts to be traded around the table, and people tend to reveal some things, but not everything. From there, you're going to go to the Mystic, which I have a Mystic, so let's go ahead and use my Mystic. I'll play my Mystic, look at the house card and 1 ninja card of another player. So I'm going to go ahead and look at this player's card over here. I'm going to say this card is a spy, so he had a spy, which should have been played by now, but let's pretend that wasn't or whatnot. And over here we have the 3 Crane. So I sit there and I turn to my opponents over there, and I sit there and I say, well, I just looked at this card and he's the 1 blue. Or maybe I say he's the 1 red. Because the 1 red could be more intriguing, because now if I say he's the 1 red knows what's going on. Any lie you say, any given point, the other players at the table start gathering information, and then they can start chipping in their own thing. Or you can tell the truth, and then that could be its own little secret. From there we move to the Trickster over here. Trickster cards are going to be a variety of cards with different effects. So for example, the Spirit Merchant is just 1 Trickster over here. Look at another player's honor token or house card. You may swap an honor token with them. That doesn't mean that much to you yet, so let's forget that for a second. Let's go. That's another one that doesn't matter. Let's take a look at the Troublemaker. You look at another player's house card, you may reveal it. So this is slightly different because of the fact that not only are you looking, but now you can choose to reveal it, and other players know that you can choose to reveal it, and so whether you do or don't reveal it is information in and of itself, especially if anyone has looked at any of your cards. Tricksters have a variety of effects that will come into play, all interesting and different in terms of how they operate. From there we move to the Blind Assassin, where I have a Blind Assassin. I'm going to play the Blind Assassin, I'm going to choose a player and kill them. I'm feeling pretty good because of the fact that I've looked at this player over here. This player is a red 3. I know I'm a red 2. And so now I know my odds are good that whoever I kill from the remaining 4 players, there's only a 1 in 4 chance that they're actually the red 1. So I'm going to go for it. I'm just going to go ahead and kill this player over here. We're going to just knock out this player over here. I'm going to look secretly, but normally you would not actually look. That was not good. That was not good. That's the kind of thing that actually can happen in your game. So happens to be I wouldn't actually know what's going on until the end there. So that could be interesting in its own right. But that's the blind assassin over there. From there we go to the Shinobis. Shinobi is going to be choose a player, look at their house card, and you may choose to kill them. And then lastly, you finally have a reveal. So Shinobi gives you the most information because it's both looking at a player and then choosing to kill them, so it gives you both at once. But again, that's information in its own right. And then in case you're wondering, whenever you have cards with multiple spies, multiple Shinobis, it's all done in the numeric order listed on the card over here. Each card has a number. So 2 Shinobis, you'll have the 4 and the 6, and you'll just do it in numeric order. And then you finally reveal, see who won, and that is basically the game. Basically, the last thing to cover is that all players on the winning team, whether you're alive or not, will reach into this bag and secretly take an honor token that has a value anywhere between 2 and 4, and eventually, the player with the most honor will win the game. Now, that's interesting because game to game, I might be on different teams. So you and I might be on the same team this game, but next game not so much. So it is about the individual winning, even though in each round you will be operating with teammates. And then of course there's the what's it called, who's on his own every single round. Where's his card? The Shinobi or whatever. The Ronin who's on his own every single round. And that is how you play Night of the Ninja. You draft up, you deliver and assign the rules to the players, you draft cards, you have 2 abilities, you go through a sequence of phases where everyone operates their abilities, and then see who's left standing, and that player wins, gets some honor token, rinse and repeat until one player finally wins, and that's the game. Which brings us to the review, starting off with ease of play. Ease of play is fairly easy. We have this as our rulebook over here. This, that's the little pamphlet. We have all that information, tons of stuff to read. Very easy game to teach, very easy game to play, very easy game to get up and running. Game plays in about maybe 5 to 6 minutes per session, probably maybe 7 to 8 minutes. It's a very short per session, although you are playing across multiple sessions until you have a winner. So the game runs 15, 20 minutes, more than that, 15 to 30 minutes to say for the game. Very quick, very easy table. Table space is minimal. Even at high player counts, it's nothing. It's a few cards, and that's basically it. You can put them on the table, you can hold them, whatever you want. It's very easy to table this one. As far as player count, this is a 4 to 11 player game. I have played this game at a variety of player counts, but I think the important thing to note is that 5 has been my lowest player count and 8 has been my highest. The reason I say those are my important things to note is because I don't know how this game operates at 11, I can't comment on that, and higher player counts could change how you interact with it. I also don't know how it operates at 4, and I could say that 5 is already a step back from 6, 7, or whatever, so 4 might be a little tight. So I don't want to comment on how well it plays at the higher or lower extremes, but I will say between 5 and 8, I've had mostly good experiences. 5 feels a little bit more constricted because the less stuff you have happening, the less information is being traded, the less interesting it gets with the fewer players. But I also don't know if it gets too convoluted at higher player counts, so take what you want from that. As far as what I like, don't like, and can see others not liking, first of all, the speed of the game. This is a fast-paced social deduction game. Every single round is 7 to 8 minutes, and every single round does feel like a mini game. Sure, there's this honor token sequence in play that will, have an extra way of winning, but past that, the game feels isolated. Each individual match feels like a little game of me trying to buddy up with my blue or red team or all on my own as the Ronin and trying to get what I need out of the experience. And so it is a fast-paced game that plays in 8 minutes if you're counting a session, or 15 to 30 if you're counting a full series of games. I like the speed that this game has. Additionally, the alliances. Whether you're right or wrong, you start building up these alliances at the table. I think you're on team red, I think you're on team blue. And sometimes you're telling the truth. Sometimes I'm telling you I'm on team blue and I think you're on my team because I looked at their card and we should definitely kill them, but really you're lying all along. And sometimes, like in many social deduction games, you throw your teammates under the bus to further verify how good you are, except the problem is, you know that you killed the blue one, and you know that you just gave up the red one, but you're the blue two, and you think you still got this because they all trust you, and you are seeding a distrust in the ranks of all the players. Whether you're right or you're wrong, the teammates, the building, the alliances, all of it is tremendously fun. And the subterfuge and backstabbery, left, right, and center. This is a game of killing people. I mean, even doing that game that when I sat there and accidentally killed the red one with my 1 in 4 chance, that happens, for better and for worse, and it can mess with you in all the worst ways. This is a game of fun moments. Gives you a very strong party game feel because it's a little chaotic. There are times where you're just making judgment calls, but a lot of the interaction comes to play very quickly as you sit down and table this, as you talk with others, as players give those secrets and lies, and because of how short the game is, people are freer with information than they otherwise would be. Because each session is 8 minutes, this is not a long con where everyone's just not saying anything and hoping for the best. People are happy to give up information because it starts the conversation flowing, and the impact and gravitas of being caught out in a lie or something happening is just not that serious. And the whole winning alone but together thing across multiple plays, it works. It does the job. I feel like a team, sort of, even though I just killed my allies as I play the game. But then when you're done with that, you go to the next game and you have your little honor tokens and you keep moving and you do the whole thing, and 30 minutes later, somebody has won Night of the Ninja. As far as things I don't like, first of all, is you could have times where you're just guessing, where you don't have the information you need, where other players don't choose the cards that reveal information. I would say I've had rounds, not games, I've had rounds that were less satisfying with others, that felt more like guesswork, and I've had rounds where it felt like I really was deducing what was going on. And the interesting thing for me is, I don't mind deducing and being wrong. The whole idea of I'm sitting there thinking, I know you're that, you must be that, and this is what's happening. I like that whether I'm right or wrong. I just want information flowing, and sometimes less information can flow in this game. And secondly, the point system that they have going on in the game, the fact they have a little point system between games, I like that. What I don't like is the fact that some of the trickster cards in the game involve trading honor tokens with each other. In other words, to me, one of the strengths of Night of the Ninja is the fact that you have an 8-minute isolated game, and then some of the trickster cards come into play and really focus on the fact that no, this is not an isolated game, this is about the longer experience. Which, while I'm fine with, I wish it wasn't forced on me to a degree. Having players take your honor cards, choosing cards that interact with the larger point scoring system, makes me feel like it really is a longer game. It's kind of like when you play apples to apples and you don't actually really care who's winning, you're just playing until you're done playing. I feel that the taking out those honor tokens and messing with them that way, while in theory it adds to the larger experience, it takes away from the smaller experience for me. As far as I can see others not liking, first of all, this does drift heavily towards a party game over a deduction game. Deduction is very present, people will say things will happen, but a lot of it is guesswork based on body language, based on what lies make sense. There's not a ton of information being given here past what people are just saying very quickly, rapidly, with less consequence to their actions. And I would say Night of the Ninja, more so than many deduction games I've played, feels like it drifts a drop more towards the party genre, while still having social deduction very much present. And secondly is, especially with the long game aspect, I mean, you're drawing tokens from a bag that are worth between 2 and 4 points. I can play just as well as you and have 4 points at the end of 2 rounds, and you can have 8 points at the end of 2 rounds and be about to win. That degree of just tacked on randomness, 2 to 4 points of a token, just complete randomness, and again, the only reason it's relevant is because then when you have those cards that steal other players' honor tokens, then it's relevant, but I like the rest of the game. I don't really care for the whole honor system and how it interacts with the rest of the gameplay experience. As far as final thoughts and rating on Night of the Ninja, I like this one. I like Night of the Ninja. I like it. It's from Brotherwise Games. Solid game. Plays quickly. Very enjoyable. This one's a 3.5 out of 5 for me. I like it and I enjoy it, but it also doesn't hit amazingly high notes. It is a good experience that has been consistently fun when I've played it. It consistently is enjoyable, but it's also not one that I feel as strongly compelled to pull off the shelf. I know that when I play this, I will have a good time. I do. But because of the fact that the social deduction is a little on the lighter side, and because it does drift a bit more towards the party side, and because of the whole point thingy feels a little bit tacked on, I would say this is a solid game that I've thoroughly enjoyed, but also just it caps out, I guess. It caps out as far as how good of an experience it's given me. It's given me a solidly, reliably good experience, but not necessarily a great one. A 3.5 out of 5. As far as other game recommendations, if you want another short hit and roll game that plays in 7 minutes per round without the tacked on round system and whatnot, One Night Ultimate Werewolf is going to be one of my favorite hidden deduction games that gives you a lot of stuff going on while also constraining you to a literal 7-minute timer to keep the game moving, flowing, and quickly. And then secondly, more in the bluffing genre, but a game that gives me the similar feeling of vibes of almost a party game combined with a strategy game around hidden information, is Coup. I think Coup is a fantastic game, also plays quickly, while giving me a similar vibe to Night of the Ninja. Until next time, I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co. I hope you found this video helpful, and as always, have a good one.